Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Auntie Anne's Story Time. It's so exciting. There are lots of new people, lots of new kids that are joining us for our story time. I think I've heard that Madison and Peyton will be joining us in our story time once a week. And I know that Elliot and Maya love books, and I'm sure that they're still with us. So thanks for joining. And tell your friends. Anyone can join us in our story time. Today, the book we're going to be reading is a funny book. It's a funny book about three animals. Can you tell what those animals are? What do you see? I see a bear, a moose, and who's that little guy with the big teeth? I think that's a beaver. And this book is called Up the Creek. And there's an interesting moral to this story, and we'll see if you can figure that out as we go along. So I just introduced it. Once upon a time, there were three friends. And there was a bear, a moose, and a beaver. They were the best of friends. But you know what happened? Sometimes they disagreed with one another. You know, somebody would have one idea and the other person would have the other idea. Anyhow, one sunny day, they decided to go for a paddle. Have you ever been in a canoe? It's fun. So they decided to grab their paddles and jump in the red canoe. But what happened? Canoes can be very tippy, and it looks like everybody wanted to sit and steer in the back of the canoe. Well, that didn't work out very well, did it? What happened to the canoe? It tipped over, right? There's Beaver sitting on it, and there's the moose. He's very big, so he must be standing on the bottom of the lake. And he says, with so much weight in the back of the canoe, it tipped, and they ended up in the water. So then they said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who's going to win? It was decided that the moose would steer, and so they all settled back in the canoe. Do you ever decide who's going to go first like that? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So off they went. But what's happening? They're in the canoe, but it looks like they're going around in circles. Guess why? Because they decided that they'd all wanted to paddle on the same side of the canoe. Well, when you paddle on the same side of the canoe, what happens? They just go round and round in circles. They're not getting very far, are they? So soon their arms grew so tired. Do you see them? Can you imagine? So they began to switch sides. Oh, that's smart. And just when they finally started to travel in a straight line, what happened? What did they hit? This is a beaver dam. They all had a different idea of how to get across. How would you get across a beaver dam? But the little beaver said, I want to push the canoe across the beaver dam. The moose thought, no, let's pull the canoe across the beaver dam. Fortunately, the bear figured it out. And what was his idea? To carry the canoe. Now, poor old beaver just hung on because he wasn't big enough, but moose helped at the front, and over they went. Back in the water, boy, they all look happy, don't they? They all look like they're paddling well on both sides of the canoe, and they got into a real rhythm, and they were having a good time going down the river until it wasn't long before they started to argue again. Somebody's saying, stop splashing, and the other guy saying, keep paddling. And then what is the beaver saying? I'm hungry. Oh boy, oh boy. They were arguing so much. Guess what happened? They didn't see something happening up ahead. What do you think was happening? Uh-oh, they hit some rapids. And what happened to the canoe? It went tumbling with the bear and the beaver and the moose, and they held on for their lives. Wow. When they got finished the rapids, wow, they looked pretty tired, don't they? They were exhausted. They landed on a rock in the middle of the river. So the canoe's on a rock in the middle of the river. I guess, I don't know how they're going to get off. The moose, he wanted to burn the canoe and make a signal fire so someone would come and rescue them. And there's he's trying to make a signal fire. The bear wanted to throw the beaver on shore to go and get help. And what did the beaver want to do? He said, I think I could just swim there. I could get there fast enough. Well, they argued over and over again on whose plan was best until it was nighttime. Boy, they argue a lot, right? The next morning, it dawned on the bear and the moose and the beaver that, you know what? They'd have to work together if they were going to get home. So they climbed back into the battered canoe. They took a deep breath and they ran the rapids. And what that means is that they go over the rapids really quickly. Well, they twisted and they leaped and they crashed and they blasted through those rapids. They were fierce, but with the bear's powerful strokes and the moose's steady hoof and the beaver's clever directions, what happened? They set a very clear course, and here they are, missing all the rocks, coming down the river. At last, they all made it to shore. They look relieved, don't they? What happened to their canoe? Boy, it looks like it got broken in half. But they took a nap, and after a much-needed rest, they all worked together to repair the canoe and the paddles. They even took time off. What did they take time off to do? It looks like they're fishing. And they also cooked lunch. I guess they had caught a fish. They cooked lunch. Before they tucked into the meal, they all gave thanks for the wildest adventure they had ever had in their life. Rested and relaxed, the bear, the moose, and the beaver set out to come home. After taking a long look at the raging rapids, what do you think they decided to do? You're right. They decided to walk instead of going over those rapids. And who could disagree with that? So that's an interesting story because it shows sometimes that happens. We all have different ideas about things and we think our idea is better and no, I want to do it this way. But when we work together, we can figure it out and we can move forward. So that's a really good story to remember. And they look like they're really good pals. And hopefully next time they get into a jam together, they'll be able to get out of it much faster. I hope you enjoyed the story. I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Until then, take care and get a book and start reading.